Welcome to the Fate Spun channel, a place where every story will make you feel, wonder, and hold your breath. Are you ready? Then go ahead. Story number 1, The Woman Who Returned. John and Sarah were a typical middle-class couple. Their son Liam was the pride of Sarah, and her life seemed calm and orderly. But everything changed when Rachel appeared in John's life. A young, bright, ambitious girl who did not hesitate to manipulate people, including John. Sarah was the first to feel that something was wrong. Her husband's late returns home, alienation, and unusual closeness. She began to suspect infidelity, but instead of making a scandal, she decided to talk to John and save their marriage. John suggested meeting on the riverbank to talk. Sarah went with the hope of reconciliation. She didn't know what Rachel was waiting for. That meeting changed her life. Rachel screamed at Sarah, accusing her of not letting John live free. John stood by, silent and confused. When Sarah tried to approach her husband, Rachel pushed her in the back. She fell into the icy river, her screams drowned out by the sound of the water. Sarah miraculously survived. She was washed ashore several miles downstream, where she was found by elderly locals. They took care of her, helped her recover. But Sarah was not the same. A fire burned in her eyes and a determination to return grew in her soul. For 6 months, she did not appear in her hometown. During this time, John started living with Rachel and turned her disappearance into an accident story. No one doubted his words. But Sarah came back. She knocked on the door of their house, and Rachel, seeing her on the threshold, turned white. John, hearing Sarah's voice, almost fell over. "I'm alive," she said quietly. "And this time, I won't let you get away with it." Sarah did not make a scene. She acted cunningly. She told her friends that John and Rachel were planning to kill her. She exposed their lies, destroyed Rachel's reputation and John's career. They lost everything. When it was all over, Sarah disappeared from their lives as suddenly as she had appeared. She started a new chapter with Liam, who now saw his mother not only as a strong woman, but also as someone who could overcome the worst. Story number 2, A Sense of Danger. My name is Oliver, and I know that my friend Emily has experienced something unusual. She told me this story, and now I can't stop thinking about what it was. Emily has always been a very rational, practical person. She works as a graphic designer and often sits at her laptop until late at night. It happened a few months ago when she stayed late in her apartment, working on an urgent project. It was around 2 in the morning when she felt something strange. I was so immersed in my work that I didn't even notice how quiet it was. It was completely quiet. I usually leave the TV on as background noise, but then even the TV went silent. It was like a feeling of a vacuum, she described the moment to me. She decided to take a break and go to the kitchen to drink tea, and that's when the fun began. When Emily walked past the living room, she saw herself. Yes, she saw herself. I stopped, thinking it was just a reflection in the window. But this me was standing in the middle of the room, dressed exactly like me, just looking at me. And the worst part was that she was smiling. Not the usual smile. It was a horrible, cold smile. Emily said she froze in place, not knowing what to do. The other one just turned around and walked in the direction of her bedroom. I gathered all my courage and followed her. But when I got to the bedroom, there was no one there. The bed was just as I had left it, unmade, with blankets scattered about. But here's what was strange. There was a cup of tea on the nightstand, even though I remembered for sure that I hadn't made any tea. She did not sleep that night. In the morning, Emily texted me and we met to talk. She looked confused, as if trying to find a logical explanation for what had happened. I jokingly said that maybe it was an alternate version of her, from a parallel universe. But she didn't laugh. A few days later, Emily decided to install a camera in her apartment to see if it was all just imagination. And here's the scary thing. There was nothing on the recordings, but every time she left the room, the bedroom door opened by itself. Emily moved out a month later. She says she sleeps better now, but every time we see each other, I notice that she still looks over her shoulder, as if she's afraid to see that other self again. Story number 3, The Violin of Fate. Every morning on his way to the office, Jason passed through the same crosswalk. In this crowded place, where people were always in a hurry, there was one constant, a young girl playing the violin. Her name was Sophie, and she was always there, with the first rays of the morning sun. Jason had noticed her from the moment he got the job. She was probably 12 or 13 years old, but her skill was mesmerizing. The violin produced melodies that stood out among the noise of the crosswalk. Jason stopped every day, leaving her $1, sometimes more when he had a little extra money. It became a ritual. She didn't say much, just thanked him quietly, smiling. And Jason thought every time how unfair the world is if such a talent is forced to play in the transition for money. This went on for almost 5 years, but one morning she was gone. Jason was surprised, but thought it was just one day. Then it happened again. A week passed, then a month. He felt as if part of his morning routine had disappeared. The girl with the violin just disappeared without a trace. Time passed. 2 years passed, and Jason practically stopped thinking about her. But one day, while walking in the city center, he saw a poster. There was a familiar face on it, a grown-up Sophie. She was performing with an orchestra as a soloist. Jason was amazed. He felt proud and indescribable joy. Without thinking, he bought a ticket to the concert. In the evening, when he got to the concert hall, Jason took a seat in the front row. Sophie went on stage. She looked confident and focused, her violin radiating the same magic that Jason remembered from the transition. When the concert ended, Jason was the first to get up from his seat and start applauding. His applause was the loudest. Sophie, noticing this, froze for a moment. Her eyes fell on him and a smile slowly blossomed on her face. After the concert, Jason wanted to leave, but he didn't have time. Sophie found him in the crowd. "It's you, isn't it?" she asked. He nodded, a little embarrassed. "I'll never forget how you stopped every day. Your help seemed like nothing, but they helped me keep going. Thank you." Her words confirmed what Jason had felt all these years, that even the smallest gesture can change someone's life. Thank you for watching the video. Subscribe to the channel, like it, and don't forget to leave a comment. See you in the next video. Good luck!